Hey,
Hey, how you doing, man? Nice to see you.
you too. I'm gonna take the picture of myself or of you off because it's probably really weird.
Yeah,
There you go.
that would probably be good.
I don't know. I'm being so picky lately. I hate how the screen flattens me, so I feel like I look like 30 pounds heavier. I've been noticing that lately.
Yeah, I know. If I put my arms here, it kind of looks like that's part of my body. So I'm trying to just put them out like this the whole time. Like,
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try really hard to look at you for an hour or whatever, and not be subconscious about what I look like because no one cares. No one's even looking at me this whole time.
that's all right.
Welcome to my Instagram live show. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You are like the king of Instagram Live right now. You've been doing this
Uh,
your own show. It seems like every day for like 2 weeks straight.
for me, it was one of those things where right now. My wife's a healthcare worker, and I couldn't be with her, and so I'm kind of alone, stranded in this small town because I can't go home. And it was one of those things where I never really battled with depression or anything, but it's just been really kind of rough, And I was sick for 4 weeks. I tested negative for the virus after 2 times going to the hospital. I finally got a test. But 4 weeks of being sick during a pandemic, it was really rough. And then, logged on to Facebook Live one day just to kind of challenge myself to come out of my little bubble because normally fairly introverted. You wouldn't know it, but I am. And because of that, it's just really helped me. Gave me something to talk about during the day, and I've had a lot of people say nice things that it helped them as well. And kind of started. I was watching Jeff Tweedy from Wilco does one every night where he just hangs out in his living room with his family and they play songs, and it really helped me during the 4 weeks I was sick. Just watching them, it was like something to do. It felt like I was part of this little like derelict family, and so. Yeah, doing my own. The first time it was like, oh, this is really fun. So I started doing it more and more, and then last Sunday, I had 800 viewers at one time, which was really insane. I never thought anyone would want to watch me tell stories and ramble like 800 people at once. It was nuts, but it's been fun. And then I was like, well, all right, how do we mix it up? And I started inviting some guests. So tonight, Mike from MXPX is on right after I do this with you. And then tomorrow,
Great.
Sam I Am. Next week, Josh from Smoking Popes. Yotam from Useless ID. All in the span of a week. So it's been fun.
Are these all people that you know personally? Like you have some sort of friendship? No, I got you. I scratched my itch, and that's what happens. Can't
Yeah.
even move your freaking hand this whole show.
Yeah, Mike from MXPX I've known since I was about 19, and I'm 43 now. One of the first bands we ever toured with. Josh from Smoky Popes, we toured with them last year, and we just kind of had a mutual respect for each other's songs. And then suddenly it was like, he's like, Josh voice, he's like, hey, let's tour together. And so we did, and it was really fun. And first we played a acoustic show together, and it was a lot of fun. Then Sergi from Sam I Am, yeah, I've known him a long time. Yo Tom, I've known him a long time. So yeah, first I've invited just people that I really like their music and I like them as people. But then I just started writing down like artists that like, all right, if this goes well, ask more people. But I just like hanging out by myself and playing songs for people too. But I'm gonna mix it up and just have fun with it.
You have like your dream interview, like an artist that you look up to that maybe you've never met or that doesn't know
Oh,
you personally, that you would freak out if they came onto your little Instagram live.
I don't know. I mean, I'll shoot high and like, I mean, worst they could say is no. So I'll just like, well, it was my wife's birthday last week, and like I can't be with her, and so I just messaged about 150 people that I knew she loved their music or their art. And Abby from Broad City did a video for her, wishing her happy birthday. So did like the singer of the band Starcaller. She likes them a lot, and like a bunch of other artists, and like really big people. And I didn't expect any to message me back, but like 10 of them out of like 100 messaged me back, and I thought that was really great. So my whole thing is like, if there's somebody I want to interview, I'll message them. If they message me back, cool. But if not, then I get it. Everybody's got their own struggles right now, and some people don't even read their messages. I don't.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I can't
Yeah.
believe you even got that many responses because if someone doesn't follow you back, they never see the message.
Yeah, I go in there and see like sometimes there's something important somebody will write and it will go to like the spam, but I don't usually read the direct messages. Somebody if they message me in the comments, I'll see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was surprised. I think it's just because everyone's like quarantined in their house and they've got nothing better to do but look at their like all right, I'm done scrolling through my comments. Let me check and see if anyone messaged me.
You would think, but I'm still waiting on like 10 people myself. That's why when I started this a couple of weeks ago in quarantine, I wanted to reach out to people like you who I have some sort of relationship with. So it makes more
Yeah.
sense. Oh, let's hang out for a little bit on Instagram and
No,
and,
yeah.
and
With
shoot
you and
shoot the breeze.
with you and I, it was a thing where you kept messaging me, and I was sick for 4 fucking weeks, and then I immediately got an abscess tooth, which I've been on antibiotics for.
Can we see it?
Courses.
Can we zoom in on the tooth?
Oh no, I mean you won't see anything. It's just
Okay.
it's up in here, like it's my canine, and it's abscessing into my nasal cavity. So you just feel tightness when you press on it. There was pain, and it ballooned up like 2 weeks ago. But during a pandemic, like how do you safely go to a dentist? So I did. In the town near where I am, there's only like 2 or 3 cases of the virus right now. It's really small town area where I'm staying, and like, but the thing is it was really expensive there, and to go to a dentist 2 hours north in a big city would have been great, but then there's like thousands of cases, so I can't do it. So
what's the name of this town you keep mentioning? That
I don't want to say. That's all right. It's not important. But
is it really that small though?
no, I mean I'm out in the desert. I'll just say that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, out in the Southwest. But I mean, yeah, it's 2 hours north is the next biggest town. So going up there I would not feel safe. But I'll tell you off camera. But yeah, it's nothing. Exciting.
And you like taking pictures, so it may be cool for photography, right?
That's been one of the saving graces of driving around. There's been so many beautiful like sunsets with mountains, and like there's a bunch of cool old Spanish style buildings, and yeah, I feel like I'm in some old Western town in Mexico. It's really cool.
That seems like a lot of fun. Like today, I wanted to start going back outside because I did my time. I stayed home for 2 months. I would only go around the neighborhood here.
You wear a mask when you go out, though.
No, I do. But so today I went over to Venice Beach, in the morning, and then yesterday I went over to the canals. I go early so there's no one out there. Venice Beach is really scary, by the way, in the morning, just as it is late at night.
I never went out there that much. I went one time. I just wanted to see if I saw that guy Harry Perry, who was in the Jane's Addiction gift video, the guy with the white suit who rides around and plays guitar with this little amp on his belt.
I've seen him, yeah.
Yeah, he's I mean, he was like before there was like Instagram famous. He was like that guy like Angeline in LA that you would see that was just like they had a famous face, but they really didn't do a lot. But he just like drove around singing all these weird like space rock songs on rollerblades.
No, at least he's got like a cool talent that makes you want to give him a couple bucks.
Exactly. But he's a character like every other artist in Venice Beach that paints like weird street art and stuff.
People, I'm just reading the chat. Everyone's talking about my mustache, but we have the king of mustaches in the chat room, Dan by Stereo, also from Zebrahead, as well as Death by Stereo. Do you know Dan?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure.
You got to look up Dan by Stereo's mustache at the end of the show. He has got the best, the handlebar, unbelievable mustache.
I think I met him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's watching right now. He was on a few weeks ago, calling it the Womb Broom. New nickname, the Womb Broom.
My whole thing though is like, even if I liked having facial hair, when I went to the hospital, I just had a shadow because I'll shave and 2 days later I get the Homer Simpson just pops back up like Fred Flintstone or something. And so the fucking doctor in the ER, he called me out. He goes, "What's this shit?" He was really funny. He was from like Southern California, but he was working in Indiana where I was, and and he flew back to help, and he like gave me shit. I'm like, I didn't realize I was getting a shadow. But he's like, you're wearing this. I have like an N95 mask left over from the wildfire, so I had this nice mask that I was lucky to have because of my asthma. And he goes, "You're wearing this nice mask, but if you get any kind of scruff, this thing is worthless. It lets in air." And he gave me shit about it. So like, you realize that for the people who have nice facial hair, this would be the time to just like, call it in for until it's safe and shave that shit off. As cool as it looks, I mean, I'd rather look like an idiot than look cool and the mask being effective. But that's just me. But it does look nice.
Ironically, this is the first time in my life I've ever done this. Maybe it's not the right time to do it.
Right. No, it's very cool.
But there may never be a right time except for right now. So that's why we're doing it.
That is true. But anyway,
and I've done maybe like 10 shows now on here, and if you go back on YouTube, you can see the beginning of the mustache to now, and it's a lot of fun just to look at the transformation from like the beginning of March to now.
It's good when it comes in. Like I can't really grow a good stash, but I can grow a good beard, and I've only ever done it like a full beard one time, and it was like during a time when I just had time off when I was living in Indiana back in the day, and we played a couple shows during it. I remember I just loved showing up and playing and just like looking like I have like Waylon Jennings facial hair, and people just giving like, "What the hell's going on?" It's kind of like this, first time, like, you're just like finally like, I don't want to fucking deal with hair anymore, and just the hair's going thin, shave your head, and it's so much easier. And then I'll get people when I'm selling merch at our shows. It'll be, hey, you know, is Kris gonna come up here and sign? It's like, oh yeah, he'll be up here a little later. And then I'll go on stage, and then later they're always like, oh man, I feel like an idiot. It's like, I don't care, you know, if you know what I look like, I think it's funny, you know. But
I mean, I've always been a hat guy. I know you weren't when you had the long hair, but you seem to be more. You seem to be a hat guy now, also.
Yeah, you know, that's just because you shave your head. You don't want to. I feel naked without a hat. But I mean,
you've had no hair for like over 10 years now, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I can still grow majority of it, but you know, part of my lineage is that we get the thinness here and a little bit back here. So my thing is like, you know, it's more my age than having long hair. And besides, you do so many of those summer tours that just sticks to your face and feels gross. Yeah, who knows if you can still have a nice head of hair, like you know, all my wife's family, they all from.
I was gonna say, don't look at me. I don't have nice hair either. I would think of our mutual friend Marco, 72. He's got great hair for his age.
Fuck that guy. I always tell him, like, what fountain of youth did you drink? Him and Mike Herrera, they just look the same. From the time I met them, they're like Benjamin Button. They like grow backwards. I love them both, but fuck you guys.
I was thinking back today about you and I. The first time I ever saw you play, it was I think '99 on Long Island at Empire Records, the store, or Empire Discs.
I forgot the Indiana thing though, so you'll have to remind me of the Indiana story you were mentioning before.
Oh, that was somebody else in the chat that saw you play in the basement.
Oh, I thought you said you met me in Indiana.
No, I've never been to Indiana, man.
Oh, that basement show they were talking about must have been in Bloomington with Mock Orange. I remember the singer. He had a beer on top of his vintage Vox amp, and it knocked over and spilled inside of his amp and fried it. And he was so ruined. But I remember that show in Long Island. I always forget you're from out there. Yeah,
well, I was thinking of the story today. So I'll tell you my Atari story. I don't think I ever told you this.
Okay.
Everybody has a discovery story, because especially you've been doing this for so many years. I'm sure it's exciting for you to see 800 people watching your chat. Like, who are all these people? What ages are they? How'd they find you?
It's weird.
I was 1997, and we used to hang out on Long Island at the train station because there's nothing to do there. We'd just sit there and listen to music, and everybody would hang out. So a couple of my buddies had Anywhere But Here, and I didn't know what the album was. And they tried to trick me into thinking that As We Speak was Green Day, that it was a new Green Day song that I hadn't heard before. Funny. But you can't mess with the master. Of course, immediately I said, this is the great song, and I want to hear this album, but this is clearly not Billy Joe singing.
No, yeah, my funny, I was talking to somebody last night on our broadcast or something. No, yeah, and I was just talking about how, you know, in 92 or 93 when I was, you know, it's like I kind of did things backwards with punk rock. Like I loved like thrash stuff and this stuff like, you know, DRI and all the 7 Seconds and that stuff. But then I got more into like Sonic Youth and Dinosaur Jr. and all the like more indie stuff I'd watch on minutes. But then I discovered, like, right when like Jawbreaker had released Unfun and Sam I Am released Soar, my first band I only played guitar with in '92, and I wrote some of the songs that became songs on Anywhere But Here, and then I started singing. We played this basement party in Indiana for like 20 people. It was like the funnest thing ever. And the girl, she was a couple grades older, and she had the cool, like, kind of like Evan Dando, like cool hip indie haircut. But she was playing all this good music. And I remember she had this tape. On one side was the Sam I Am album, one side the Jawbreaker album. I'm like, what is this? I totally got to check this out. And I finally found out, and I mail ordered them. And then that same girl, she, you know, Green Day had only released Kerplunk and 1039 Smooth, and she had those too. And through her, I discovered that, and then I got into all the Lookout stuff like Crimp Shrine and 15 and all this stuff that was like.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, from the early East Bay, like Oakland and San Francisco scene. And then from there, that was just, those were like my bands at the time. And then there was a band from Chicago called Sludgeworth that opened for All. Because I loved All a lot, but I got into Descendants after I got into All, because I heard All Roy's Revenge, and it was like the greatest power pop album. But those were my bands, and that was the first time, you know, that I really heard punk rock and melody, because before that, there weren't a lot of melodic punk rock bands. There were a handful, but it was more like punk was about, you know, political songs, which I liked. I loved those bands too, but I kind of went back and loved Black Flag and those bands after I discovered all the melodic stuff. And yeah, and that spoke to me, and that's what became Anywhere But Here. It was my culmination of me doing my best of my own songs as channeled through that. But I mean, you get better at doing that as you get older and putting your own stamp on it. I think everybody's first album, it's somewhat it's more emulating your people you really were inspired by at the time. I mean, I was 13 writing those songs, you know, so 13 to about 19, I wrote that album.
Yeah. So you were a Green Day fan, then you just weren't trying to sound like Billy Joe. It probably just came out as like the punk. You had the punky voice. I get it.
No, it was blatantly because I listened to those first two albums all the time. So all those albums, Jawbreaker, Sandman, the Green Day, it was all, you know, all I was loving and listening to. So it definitely inspired. I mean, you know, we never try to like sit down and like sound like things, but yes, and I liked Green Day albums after that. But for me, those two albums, they hit me at a time when that was like nobody knew it. It was mine. And then so because I discovered them before Dookie, and then they became the biggest thing in the world at the time, I just kind of like grew out of them. I liked them, but it was one of those things before punk rock broke in mainstream. You know, people got to remember before the Green Day and you know, Bad Religion signed on major that year and all those bands. Like then when I was a young kid, we were like, fuck that. But now I'm like, you know, of course that was great for them. They deserved that. They deserved to reach other people. But yeah, before that, there were no bands that were underground indie power pop or punk rock bands that broke in the mainstream. That was the year that, you know, as that Sonic Youth documentary called it, the year that punk broke. You know, before that there was Nirvana, which were basically a punk band that were in a rock world, you know. But yeah, it was really unique time, but it was cool to be there when it all happened.
Did you get to go to a Kerplunk tour show? That would be cool.
Yeah,
I would like to hear that story.
Well, I saw them right. It would have been right before Dookie was released. It would have been they were still doing the artwork, and that's how I ended up on the back cover of Dookie. My head is on the back cover in the crowd because that shot was that picture was shot at the show they played in Chicago at the Riviera, and it was Seaweed. No. Hold on. Yeah, it was Seaweed, Green Day, All, Bad Religion in that order. And Green Day played a few songs from Dookie, and they gave out cassette samplers that had She, Longview, and Basket Case on it.
Yeah.
It was recorded, but it says from the forthcoming album. And I remember that, yeah, it was really, you know, I liked all those bands, so it was cool. And then that was before the Descendants reunited. And the only other time they had played a show and reunited was this show in New Jersey at City Gardens years before when Scott lost his voice. And so Milo lived in Delaware, so he came up and they played a surprise full Descendants set. And that was in like 89. It was after, no, it was 90 or something. So so this time when All played, Milo lived in Wisconsin in Madison, and he came out and he did Coolidge at the end as a surprise. So I got to see the Descendants one time before they reunited for Everything Sucks. So that was cool. It was a great show. It was definitely one of those shows that was like every band was great. So
I love how much you love music like I do, because now when you play shows yourself and people want to meet you and hang out with you, you get it, you know.
Totally.
That's like super exciting for someone to meet you. You know, someone might have been a fan their whole life and never got a chance to see you play till now, till 2019, you know?
You can always tell the bands that like were just big nerds for music, because I think they get it. You know, they're like music nerds, so when you meet them, you definitely feel like you're meeting one of your own. And that's just how I always felt. Like if I ever had a band and our band was something that somebody even gave a shit about, then I definitely was gonna always try to be the most down to earth and humble about it as possible, just because that's just who I am inside. We would be the kids that even when we play big festivals with bands I love, I still like try not to nerd out, but I'll always like just be kind and say, hey, to so-and-so we play with, be like, I really appreciate your music. Thanks for making these songs, you know. I mean, and you know, I felt really lucky that we played with like some of the bigger festivals. You know, we actually get to play with bands that are outside of our genre, which is really cool, because we got to play with like the Beastie Boys. We got to play with The Cure. We opened for Red Hot Chili Peppers once. Like all those things like are really, really like holy shit moments, you know, because like Slayer, Iron Maiden were on 6 festivals we played in Australia, and I got to watch them on the side of stage every day.
That's fun, because you could have just been playing pop punk band pop punk band for
Yeah.
10 years, but it got a little bit old after a while.
Warped Tour, you know, when we first started playing, they had a bit more diversity as far as a lineup, where they'd have some kind of alternative bands too, and some hip hop bands, and that was always cool. But you know, we play enough festivals where it's a diverse crowd, and you know, we try to bring out bands that aren't pop punk bands, because I don't really listen to pop punk bands. I mean, pop punk for me was, like I said, early Green Day or the Descendants. That was pop punk, melodic punk rock.
Yeah.
But like modern pop punk, I don't really like it. It's the opposite of what I listen to, because it's really auto-tuned a lot of the time, and it's really like nasally. It's just something that I don't get it. At 43, I don't was jaded, but you know, it's not my thing. Now I do like melodic punk rock bands or rock and roll bands I like Against Me are good. I don't think they deserve the pop punk tag just as much as I didn't think the Get Up Kids deserve that. Those are all good bands. Or like I don't know, like Gaslight Anthem are a really good band. Like all those bands, I like stuff like that. Or like Title Fight. They're like grasping at like what I loved about Jawbreaker and Quicksand and all those bands, and they're putting it with what they loved about, you know, melodic punk rock. So I like that stuff, but I don't really listen to bands that we would probably unfairly get lumped in with, because I think if you see us live, we have more in common with those bands than we do, you know, the like silly pop punk stuff that just doesn't apply to us, because we came from something else, but we just happened to come up at a time where we were playing Warped Tour with a lot of those bands. So I understand why that name, the Ataris, gets to be synonymous with some of those bands, but we don't sound like that. I mean, you know.
And cheap plug for myself. If you didn't watch my show last night because you're a fan of the Ataris and this is your first time checking me out, if you go onto my YouTube page, which is just DJ Rossstar with 3 S's, you can see last night's show with Matt Pryor from the Get Up Kids. He was on here. That's
cool. We toured. We never really toured with them, but we did take out their other guitar players, singers, other band, Blackpool Lights, who were very replacements or feeling. I don't think they play anymore or do anything, but their album was really good, and we took them out on the tour during our Welcome to Night album, and they're just a good rock and roll band. Really good songs.
Oh, speaking of, before I forget, Matt Pryor wanted me to ask you, because I brought up the fact that you both covered On With the Show, and he hates his version of it and thinks he thinks it's the worst cover the Get Up Kids have ever done. I think he pretty much said he wishes it was never released. He wanted me to ask you how you feel about your version of On With the Show.
I feel the same, only because I love that song and I love the first Motley Crue album, first 3 Motley Crue albums. I actually played Home Sweet Home last night for fun, just totally off the cuff. And like Theater of Pain, Shout at the Devil, and the Too Fast for Love, I think are just great albums. But the thing is like, you know, we just did it really quick in one day, and it was just completely off the cuff too. And I just feel like if I would have had the chance to have another day to make it sound right, you know, but that's me, you know. I mean, once you record something, it belongs to other people too. Well, I'll still have people ask for it, but it's like, look, that song was tough to sing in the studio one time. Yeah. Singing it in a live set, like, but I mean, there are plenty of Motley Crue songs I could sing, but even Vince could never sing those.
I was going to ask you to play that in 10 minutes from now.
No, I can't play that.
I'm messing around.
Did you ask Matt Pryor to play that?
No, I don't think he wanted to play anything. He was. I never met him before. I think he was the only person I've interviewed in this format that I never met, but I just wanted to so badly because I've been such a big fan, and I never had the chance to have him come over to my house. You know. I
don't think we ever met either. There were some, but like, there were a lot of bands in that time. That, you know, I liked those bands that we called emo, like Mineral, Sunny D, Real Estate, Far Side, Texas The Reason, you know, what was emotional hardcore. That's what it was. It all came from like Fugazi and Embrace, and then later like Quicksand and all that. But like, I think like, you know, early Jimmy World and Christie Front Drive and Get Up Kids, that was not pop punk. It was like in that world of bands. And we you know, I liked those records because our first roadie, he played a lot of those records on our early tours, and you know, when we were out touring like Blue Skies and This Forever, that would be stuff he'd play, and so we'd listen to it. And I'm like, God, these songs are really good. But I respect his songwriting a lot. He's a good songwriter. So is Jimmy World. He's a really good songwriter.
Yeah, I'm a little bit younger than you. So all the bands you mentioned, the emo bands, I wasn't aware of who they were when I was younger. So to me, that was the Get Up Kids. I was told by my peers, this is an emo band you like, and from there, I learned about Dashboard Confessional and the newer generation of it.
That's, you know, I like him as a person, but that's where it started. Like I think, belonging to other people. And that's what I think what happened is there were a bunch of terrible pop punk bands that liked Dashboard that emulated him. And it became this really bad nasally thing. Like, he did what he sang fine. It was his thing. But I don't want to hear a bunch of bad auto-tuned, like, totally cut and pasted pop punk bands emulate that or emulate Blink. Like, I don't listen to Blink, but I don't want to hear a bunch of that copied. It just
well, you'd rather hear the best of the best. So you'd listen to Green Day, but you don't want to hear 100 Green Days that came after. I get it.
It's the same with anything. I mean, I remember when Nirvana broke when I was a kid, and you just had all these bands that were emulating that. Like, I remember the only night I really ever I took acid. I told this story the other day, and I came home at like 4 in the morning. My mom let me in, and I remember laying in bed, and I just turned on the alternative radio station, and that first time I remember hearing this fucking song, but that song Plush by Stone Temple Pilots aired, and I swear in my moment of clarity of this like acid trip I was coming down from, I picked up my phone, which was like the neon flashing Guns N' Roses November Rain video, I think it was, phone, or maybe it's a Patience video, and I picked up my Con Air neon phone at 4 in the morning. I called the radio station and I said, what is this perjury? You know, I'm like, this is the most blatant ripoff of Eddie Vedder I've ever heard. He was like, and I feel. But, you know, that came into their own, just like I was saying about Anywhere But Here. You know, their first album, I just think it wasn't as good as Hiding Their Influence, and they were influenced by something that was their peer, which, you know, there were so many bands at that time that were just copying Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and all those bands. And I just still feel like I would much rather listen to the original than the emulation, you know?
I get you.
Yeah, but, you know, there are some good bands that, like I said, like, that are, you know, influenced by your contemporaries or previous bands, but just got to add your own stamp to it, you know?
So can I ask you, since we're halfway through, I mean, every day you're probably getting, you know, End Is Forever requests and Blue Skies requests. Can you play As We Speak? Do you still remember that song?
I do not remember that song.
Oh, that would have been a fun one for me then.
I don't remember some of those songs, most of the songs on Anywhere But Here, because the way the Ataris always worked is I recorded all the songs myself except for the drums. I played all the bass, everything. So when it would be like, you know, somebody got married or somebody had a drug problem and we no longer played music together, it'd be like, okay, what songs do I really want to focus on to teach this new group of people? Because the live lineup always kind of changed because of different people moving or other things, you know. I mean, it's like a relationship. People move on, and I always try to keep it going because it's my band. But, there were just some songs that just fell to the wayside, not because I didn't like them. I mean, there's only, I'd say, a small handful that I just would rather not play, and those were the silly ones. But I like As We Speak. I don't think I could remember it, but
you can play a different one from that album. I was just trying to do something different because I feel like most people want to hear like the three.
No, I mostly get So Long Astoria requests and Blue Skies requests because I feel like you got to remember, like, nobody knew us during Anywhere But Here at all. It sold like 600 copies, and then we put that EP out on Fat Mike put San Dimas on a comp, and then Blue Skies came out. Even though Blue Skies was recorded 6 months before Look Forward to Failure EP on Fat, when Blue Skies came out, that EP set it up, and Blue Skies became really big. Now, when End Is Forever came out, at the time, like, that was a really downer and gray album. If you compare it to like the uplifting positivity and optimism of Blue Skies, it was like Welcome the Night was, but it was like I said, it was influenced by all those bands like Mineral and Sunny Real Estate, and half those songs were like so slow on the demo because I was writing all this real droney, like kind of indie punk rock, and I just like decided to make a few of them rock out a bit more. But overall, it was still a great album. So End Is Forever, it has its fans, but it's always like Blue Skies, and then So Long Astoria became massive because it was our first album that was reached a wide audience with In This Diary, and then later Boys of Summer and Sad Song. So it's kind of like those two gateways, I feel. But End Is Forever was like people that already knew us through Blue Skies.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah,
went back and discovered Anywhere But Here. But other than that, I think we had like 600 fans before Blue Skies.
No, I mean I had Anywhere But Here, but Blue Skies is when I was like really got into it. Then I was like hooked, you know. And I loved End Is Forever. Like a lot of these chatters are saying they love it too. They keep telling me they're always trying to get you to play End Is Forever songs. It's funny.
Oh, I play a ton of those on my live broadcast. Just with the live band, they probably know like 20 or so songs where if I play acoustic shows or play by myself, I can probably play anything that I could remember or that works on a solo song. But I could play something off of Endless Forever probably if you want to hear something off that.
They're gonna ask you to play 13 though, or something crazy that you can't do acoustic. Probably.
Work. Yeah, that.
I know.
A good song, but that's a shouty, pissed off rock song. But there are people that don't think about those things, and I'm like, yeah, that song is like a screaming rock song that needs a band, and there are a handful that like I just kind of nicely explained.
What's the one song? Oh, I forgot the name. Got out of bed today. I'm alive. What can I say?
That's that one. How I spent my summer vacation. I played that last night on my.
That one's good. I remember when I first, maybe it was Napster before I got the album when it came out. There was like the faster version on there, and when the album came out, it had the slower version.
Well, it's the same tempo. It's just like the one on the, well, for the most part, it's just the one on Endless Forever. The one on the old one I recorded. Derek played drums and the guitar part's more like,
yeah.
It's just more palmed. Where the other ones, it's played more fluid and more open.
I forgot, was that on an EP or was that really just on Napster? Where did I even find that?
No, it came out on a, Joey Cape had a label, a small label called My Records, and he had these comps that he put out, and there was, he put it on there, and you know, each one had like a song from like Bracket, NoFX, all these Atlanta. Yeah. And so his label put that song on a comp. But then we later threw it on the split we did with Useless ID called Let It Burn. I think we threw it on there because we didn't have a lot of.
That's probably why, yeah, because I listen to that all the time. Yeah. With the show, your favorite.
Oh, I think we put that on there too. We must.
That's on there too. That's like track 7 or something.
Oh, thanks, Tyler. You see, he knew better than I did. Yeah, see, I don't know those things because I don't really go back and listen to some of those albums. I mean, you know, I'll usually listen to something right after I've recorded it just because I've got it out of my system and it's cathartic. It's like, oh, yeah. Cool. Now I can be proud of what I finished. It's done, move on to the next thing. But yeah, I've recorded like 20 to 30 new songs of music, some of which I've released on various releases in the last year or so on our Bandcamp and through the label that bought Kung Fu, Cleopatra. And but then I've got like about 200 fragmented new song ideas that I've been working on. And I've just got to parse those down to like 20 or so and record. I'm going to record a handful more and then make an album. But then this pandemic happened, and you can't really go into a studio right now. I wouldn't feel safe doing it. So. Nope.
I totally understand. I get it. We'll have to wait another year. But at least they get your show every couple of days, which is great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, you know. It's cool. And I like doing this with you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, give me something to go on, and then we can take some questions. What do you feel like playing?
I'll play a song. The songs I usually play off of Endless Forever are, I like playing Fast Times at Dropout High. I like how I spent my summer vacation. That's a little brutal to sing with the abscessed tooth, but then again, I think all three of these are. The other one is I Owe You One Galaxy. I don't like the lyrics of that song because it's about my life, but it's always the one people request. So
you played that one at my house though. You can look that up on YouTube. People watching, so you can already see that one on. It's on DJ Rossstar YouTube.
Then I'll play Fast Times at Dropout High because I think that's that's my favorite song. One of my favorite songs I've written, and we re-recorded that for the new album because it's taken on such a new life live. So I like that song, and if that's cool, I'll play that one.
I don't mind. Oh yeah, Women in Stereo says play the one that's all the cats go free. That's really cute too.
I won't spend. Yeah, it's kind of sappy.
Here he is. Look, he's free.
Oh goodness, I love cats.
Free.
I got asthma, and you know, unfortunately, you know, they give me asthma so bad, or I would have them. But I got a French bulldog, and my other Frenchie, Gracie, passed away last year because you know she got cancer. But my wife got our Frenchie now at home, and we have a new Frenchie named Petunia, who's a boy. But we gave her a girl's name because Gracie, who was like the love of my life, I always called her Petunia. Her nickname, because Gracie was the name I got her when I got her from the French Bulldog Rescue.
Animals, the best.
Pebbles, you said?
Animals, the best.
Yeah, totally. But
yeah,
Fast Times. I'll play that, and then we can carry on.
Yeah, we'll take some questions, and we'll hang out. Maybe you play us out before we go. I know you got to go.
Yeah, I was late, but then I realized when Mike said the only day he was available, he said Saturday. I said that's fine, and then I was like, holy shit, no, I can't do Saturday.
No, it's cool. I usually end at like 7:55 anyway. If you need to go at 7:51.
I usually ramble so long. I go for like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then.
No, you're the best talker I know besides myself. So.
You know, hey, can I test something out here because I know my battery's gonna go dead, and then when I do that, can I?
Yeah.
Is this upside down now? It is.
Yeah.
It isn't.
It is.
Oh, it is. Shit. Okay. I'm going to have to see if I can wedge this. Otherwise, I'm going to have no battery when I do the interview. Because for some reason, Instagram is stupid and won't let you do a fucking use a computer or any other device.
Yeah, everyone's always out of battery. We had AJ from Lit on last Saturday. His battery was almost dead too, and they had to get a wire.
Sorry, I'm shaking up my phone. I'm trying to plug it in while I'm doing this, and I gotta levy it against something, or it's gonna die. So that works. Let me just make sure I'm not completely crooked. Otherwise, I'm gonna feel really stupid. Yeah, that's fine. Is that all right? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Cool. Where'd my pick go? My plectrum, as they say, in down under in England. What the hell? Where'd it go?
While he looks for the pick, I'll let you guys know that on Thursday at 5 o'clock, we're going to have Telly on from The Word Alive. I'm going to Wednesdays and Thursdays. Too many people on Friday and Saturday. I'm going Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, it's weird. You know, like the best audience I had was on Sunday. Oh, there it is. It fell into the computer. On Sunday, that was the 800. And then I think the weekends have still been the best. But, I mean, there are a lot of people doing this now, which I respect.
Yeah.
You know, you got to stay busy. And, you know, especially because, you know, no one's touring. If you're in a band, this is, you know, a lot of people will tip through the Venmo and PayPal. And a lot of people, you know, come on and it helps me and it helps them. But, I mean, during the week, I find I'll do 3 p.m. during the week, 3 p.m. California time, and 7 p.m. on the weekends. And I find in the 3 p.m. you get a lot of drunk people from the UK and Europe that are just about to go to bed, and they're a little bit crazy. Damn it, that's too dark. But yes, sorry that I'm messing this up. Trying to get this lighter now.
I'm just waiting. I'm like, the most suspense ever to hear this song live.
Oh no, it's not that exciting. Well, that's a little dark. Damn it, what's going on? All right, fuck it. I'm just gonna.
You're good, man. All right. If you just tune in, this is Kris Roe from the Ataris, and he's about to play on the show. Kick it.
Hold on a sec. All right, fast times. Here we go. Alone at last, just nostalgia and I. We were sure to have a blast. For you, it was just another Sunday in a small Indiana. I went by the place where you and I wrote our names in wet cement, and for a moment remembered how it felt to have no one understand that there's history, and they're not part of it. How soon we all fall. The house was gone, but the piano lingered on, and so does the fire that burned it to the ground. You can take away all of my rights to see the day. You can take away my love for that day. And there's that time you took me aside and said I was not your only son. Childhood is so fucked up. I never had any closer friends than the ones I had when I was young, alone again. You and I missed out to wave goodbye. I think it's time for more need to go. Thank you very much. I'm gonna try to get this lighter in this space. Let me turn this other light on. I don't know why it got dark all of a sudden.
No, the light is okay. You just sounded a little bit far away when you just did that. It was a little bit low.
Oh, weird. Yeah.
That was the only thing I noticed. Your volume completely changed, but no one said anything, so I guess it was.
Oh, yeah. It could be. Let's see if this helps here. Let's get this light.
Yeah, now you're loud. Now you're loud again.
It's weird. Oh, cool. I think maybe the speaker was getting blocked by the computer I'm leaning it against.
But no one even said anything, so they just love you. They don't care.
Well, they're very tolerant then.
If you were too clear, you may have been too loud. Who knows?
Could have been. It's a very nice echoey room, so when you sing out, it definitely comes.
Yeah, they said it was quiet. Maybe if you do one more, I'd try to mute your. Oh, try muting your video when Kris is playing. I could probably do that next time.
There we go. That's better. A little better.
There you go.
Just have to angle one of these lights. Yeah. See, when I packed for tour, I wasn't packing for a pandemic and knowing I would be able to go home. So all I have is my Telecaster and this little Fender Mini Twin amp. It's the size of my hand. Sounds great, but it's, I could have brought my big ass amp in here, but overall, it's like that's really the only way I could
that's cool.
Play these live.
But now I hear myself on an echo. What did you do now?
Me?
Now I hear myself repeated.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I'm not
there it goes.
Getting that at all. Strange.
Technology, man.
Yeah, it's weird. Maybe it's because of the weird signal here. It's like only it's like dial-up internet level internet.
Has anybody made you play the radio yet, like the original 30-second one?
No.
You want to do that for us, or no?
No. It doesn't. That doesn't work as an acoustic song.
Don't you love that I know, like, I'm like an actual fan of yours? Like, I know all these like random things.
Yeah. I think the songs that tend to work better when you're playing them solo are ones that kind of tell a personal, vivid, detailed story. And the silly, the silly kind of punk rock songs, they, a band hides the lyric. Because the lyric, when you're playing with, just by yourself, you can only rely on the narrative because that's what people are going to focus on, and not the guitar because, you're playing through a tiny mini twin. So, I mean, yeah, I try to play the songs that have some meaning that really feel from the heart and personal. And
do you ever do any Welcome to Night songs?
Of course.
Yeah?
I play a handful of those. But those, I had a 7-piece live band, but there's definitely those songs that I think you can strip them down to one, and still the lyrics on that album I think are really strong. So they work as solo song.
I gotta revisit it because I'll tell you when it came out I was younger still and I didn't get it. Because I was used to a certain sound.
I listened to stuff that wasn't punk rock, and I wanted to continue growing and make an album that spoke to me. Yeah. And I knew when I made it that probably a lot of the people who only listen to like bands that probably were our contemporaries would never get it. But I think that's an album too that like. There's always those albums, like if you look back for me, like, look at OK Computer, look at Pinkerton, look at, all those albums that like, Weezer were following a really good pop album, and Pinkerton at the time when I bought it, I was like, this is kind of odd. And then, the next year, that's all I listened to. I loved it. And same way with OK Computer, I'm sure, not for me, because I got into them at that era, but I thought Creep was a good song, but that was an album that really started to showcase what this band was capable of, and they only got better with every fucking album. I love everything a band does. Or Wilco. Like Wilco, the early albums were just kind of folky, what Lucero calls y'alternative. That's what John, the bass player, he coined that. He's like, man, you like that y'alternative? But, like folky alt country. But then they turned into this really, really diverse band. I like that, But I mean,
you want to do your Butterfly cover? Have you done that yet? Have you done the Butterfly cover?
I don't play that, no.
No?
No, that's just a song I recorded for fun, and I never played it again, really. But I like that song, but it's one of those things, I wish I didn't record it because then people ask you to play it. I just recorded it because it was like a bookmark at the end of my relationship, and everything that song was saying kind of represented the end of my marriage. So I was like, I'm going to put this on the end of the top.
Yeah. Well, one more. You can pick it, and then we'll take some questions really quick. I know we have 10 minutes, so.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll play a fan favorite because again, I like to make people happy.
Yeah.
But rather than play some weird deep cut. But yeah, hopefully people are excited to hear this. Still confused why it got so dark on my phone. All right.
One day you should do that, though. You should do like a deep cut show one day and just let people know ahead of time.
I generally find that if I let people ask for songs, every show dives off of a cliff into only deep cuts because I tend to be like, okay, I'll play that. Okay, I'll play that. And then suddenly it's like, oh, nobody knows these songs except the people requesting them. All right. But yeah, this song is well known. It's weird. Now I can hear myself.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. They said they've been friends with me for 12 years online, and I haven't aged a day. Awesome.
You haven't. You look the same.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I think you look younger now than when you mentioned, like the stash and stuff. It makes you good.
Yeah, I'm trying.
The fuck's with this? Okay, cool. All right, this is about first weekend I moved out to California when I was 19, and just some good memories I had. Last night, I had a dream that we went to Disneyland. Went on all the rides, didn't have to wait in line. I took you to your house, where we stared up at the stars. I listened to your heartbeat as I held you in my arms. Hung out at the rainbow, where we drank till I felt you. Nothing could go wrong, anytime we are with you. You see the hotel room, leading up to that first kiss. Searching for a high school that we know didn't exist. These are the things that make me free. Feel like I'm stuck, can't stand by me. Tonight it was too good to be true. Today, I woke up alone, wishing you were here with me. I want us to be something that we probably never be. Till you call me up, so you'd see me at our show. Now I'm stuck debating if I even want to go. Corey, don't you understand that what I say is true? I just want you to know that I'm so in love with you. Drag you to Las Vegas, do the things you want to do. I even have DJ Rossstar that I get a song to you. I only wish that this could be. Dump your boyfriend and go out with me. I swear I'd treat you like a queen. Hey, thank you.
That's good that Corey's in there. What if you ended up with someone named like Agatha or something?
No,
like really
no,
cool
I
name?
changed. I like sing my wife's name. I mean, I have songs a lot of names, but I mean, you know, that's just one that like I just tend to sing my wife's
no,
name.
I meant it fits. But what if your wife was named like Agatha or something like
syllables.
crazy?
I get it. I thought you were saying like it's cool.
No, what if your wife was like some crazy like 15-letter name?
Yeah, that would be really. It'd be. But there's been times where like I've tried to put names of bands and things and squeeze stuff like that in there, and it's always a situation where it's like, oh yeah, once I get to that point and it's like about to say it, I'm like, this isn't gonna work. And a couple times I've just fucked it up so bad.
If last call in LA is 1:30 and the bar closes at 2, how did you drink till 2:30 at the Rainbow? Did they let you stay after hours?
It was one of those things where we just kind of hung. I was with Marco 72, and
yeah.
You know, when you're with Marco, things just kind of happen. So they had closed the doors, and it was still like some random people in there that were like Lemmy, Molly Crew, like Ron Jeremy. They were all hanging out, and we just kind of tried to blend amongst them. And I don't think they're going to kick them out. But it was a really like soft, like all right, finish your fucking drinks, get out of here. But yeah, I don't think we could order any more drinks at that time. But
I've always wondered about that, like as an adult, like living here. Like I'm like, how did he stay alive fast too?
I never thought about it, but yeah, it was. Now that you brought it up, yeah, that's kind of what happened. But there used to be this Thai restaurant in Koreatown we would go to after we would leave the Brass Monkey, the karaoke bar on Wilshire, and we would always go to this one place where you could go in there and you could be like, hey, can I get some hot tea? And it was like, that would be a tea pitcher of beer, or if you say cold tea, it would be wine. So you could go there, but they got busted. But it was like a speakeasy, and it's fucking cool, though. You always feel like 4 in the morning, we're getting wasted. It's like but you could, but yeah, I've been drinking 7 years, but it was definitely one of those things where at the time it was the novelty.
Well, all my years here, I always got kicked out of the bar, except last December, a couple months ago, Green Day played at the Tiki Bar in Orange County, really small place, and they played till 3 a.m. is when it ended. But it's Green Day. They can afford probably to pay the fee if they have to go over, right?
Yeah, that's a hefty fine with a bar, but that's cool they got away with that.
They started at 11 o'clock at night. They played 4 hours, like all different covers and different side projects. But yeah, it ended at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that is really cool. I saw the Foo Fighters play like 90 people in the Valley because Marco knows. I knew Chris Shiblet when he was in his old band, but it was one of those things where that was Marco's best friend growing up. And Chris called him and he's like, hey, you want to come see our band play tonight? We're playing at Palladino's out in the Valley. And like, sure. So we went out there and we saw him play a bar that was like the size of that Tiki Bar place. It was just 90 people.
I do feel bad. We didn't really ask any questions. If you guys want to fire some questions really quick, we got like 3-4 minutes till they kick us off.
Yeah, please do.
Let's try to fire through like the ones that don't need like a huge explanation, I guess. And thank you, Chris, for doing this, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yes, I don't smoke weed. I have nothing against it. I think everyone should legalize it. I have asthma, and for some reason I feel the world played a cruel trick on me where like everybody else has a great time on weed, and maybe 1 out of 5 times I have a good time. The other 4 I have a paranoid anxiety attack, and it's never enjoyable. But I mean, you're gonna be on like forever on Instagram. So if they don't get their question asked now, they have like a million more times. Yeah, just another hour. I'll be on from 8 p.m. Pacific time until 9 with Mike Herrera. You could ask questions there too. Come over to the Ataris Instagram and yeah.
Here we go. KB says, ask him about the shitty basement in Lake Station, Indiana. Do you remember the shitty basement?
Lake Station. No, I thought that they were talking about the basement show we played in Bloomington with Mock Orange. No, I don't remember that show specifically.
How was the Erode tour?
The what?
Erode?
I don't know what that is.
ERODE? I don't know what that is either.
Yeah.
Any ETA on the new album? I'm sure people ask that every day.
Not an actual date for it because I can't get back into a studio to finish recording. But on my live broadcast every day on the Facebook and Instagram, I've been playing snippets from actual songs I've recorded, and I've also been playing a few new songs like solo. And if you go to the Ataris Bandcamp, there's a couple new songs up there just temporarily for a short period of time. I put them up for the one day that Bandcamp, on the first of every month, Bandcamp is giving 100% to the bands only and not taking their fee. So I put a few demos of new songs up there that are still up there. I see.
That was not a makeup station. Yeah. We only got a minute anyway, so thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Kris, for doing this.
Hey, thank you for hanging out.
I've been peeking into your shows left and right. I'm going to check out what you and Mike get to talk about here. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Please come
on. So if you guys are watching for the first time, thank you. Please follow me at DJ Rossstar. I'm going to be doing this twice a week indefinitely. Like I said, I got The Word Alive on next week. And I think Bowling for Soup. I'm waiting for Jared to write me back. He's got like 100 shows also, so it's hard to get a hold of him.
Well, have fun, and thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And anytime, man. Stay safe and well. And, yeah, everybody out there, thanks for hanging out and watching. And come on over to the Ataris Instagram once this is done and watch me interview Mike Herrera poorly.
And if you got 6 minutes to spare, you can go on YouTube, look up Rossstar Ataris. We got some old videos on there, and you can look up Ataris On With the Show and hear the world's greatest cover. See you later, buddy.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye. Adios. Take care.